Hey, Don, how are you? Straight up, the
Good,
Don
Sal.
Hanston Show. How's it going, buddy? Haven't seen you
Everything's
in a while.
wonderful. Yeah. We've been on kind of a hiatus, and we got to start getting some recordings out. So today's a new day.
Yeah, I need to get some more hate mail. I need to get some more hate emails of people that disagree with everything that comes out of my mouth.
Perfect. Right.
Don, I wanted to talk to you about what's been going on lately. I don't know if you're aware, but we just 2 days ago, Saturday night, had the third assassination attempt on our president in like the last 10 to 12 months. They were at that White House Correspondents' Dinner that they have at some hotel in Washington, which I don't understand why they have that there. And as everybody was in there, the president, the first lady, vice president was all up at the head table. Somebody ran past a checkpoint in the lobby, and he had a couple knives, a couple handguns, a long rifle, and they tackled him. One Secret Service officer got shot in the chest, but the Kevlar vest saved his life, thank God. And he's still alive, and he's going to appear in his arraignment hearing this morning. I don't have anything updated on that, but his intent was to, assassinate the president and everybody else he can get in his scope, I guess.
hmm
And I know we've talked about this many times. You didn't hear about this, huh?
Dude, I don't watch news. I'm only into positive vibrations these days, and so the news is not part of my repertoire. No.
Yeah, and of course now the left is saying that it was staged, which wasn't staged, and they're also saying that this was all manufactured so Donald Trump can get that ballroom going at the White House, which I know he was in the process of building a ballroom at the White House, and they're giving him a lot of grief over it. But you have a lot of negative media, which we've talked about many times, calling him a Nazi and everything. And you get these loons that listen, and they want to take him out. What do you
Yeah.
think?
Well, unfortunately, on the news side of things, it's you know there's too far left, right?
Yeah,
And it's way out of proportion. And then you got too far right, right? So like,
definitely.
and then I believe you just got logic, right? So you got to use your own logic. I was talking to people about this whole vibration that the news has been putting out, the
Yeah,
separation of people and everyone getting different people to think different things. And I kind of have a perspective that it's all theater. They're all act,
really.
they're all actors, they're all theater, they all play for the same team. They just they fight against each other to get
What
people.
team would that be? Greed, you think?
I think it's they're trying to create this one world economy, right? This and I think that that's why we're so involved with all these other countries and everything else. And I don't want to say my opinion on any of this because I really don't want to put too much thought into it. But there's people that are controlling the whole thing. It's Trump, Joe Biden. It doesn't matter which guy you put in. Obviously, I think Trump is much more capable than a lot of the other people, but I think that it doesn't really matter. I think that they're all controlled by the elites, right? The people that are actually running the show. And I think that without even looking at the news, I think whether it's theater, whether it's not, I think what I think it is it's the top people that are running it that that actually want to show that, hey, you better listen and do what we want you to do. Otherwise, we can make things happen to you and your family and everything else. So I believe that certain people that don't play ball they and their families get compromised. And I believe the ones that play ball that's why they got to get these dummies in that don't know their own name, and they'll play ball with them. And then you get somebody that's intelligent, and they have to play ball, otherwise they'll count. Your family can be compromised, you could be compromised, whatever. So that's just my opinion on it. But um,
So do you
I'll be
think it's the left? because there were no assassination attempts on Biden or Barack Obama before that.
Well,
So,
they were more controllable, right? So the
okay.
left was more controllable. So that's
Yeah.
why you saw people walking around look like they had brain damage or escapees from the mental institutions running around, and these are the people in charge because they're easy to control, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so and then when you get people in there that have a brain and they have ideas on how to try and make things better, they'll allow some of it, but they're not going to allow people to be aware of who's pulling the strings, and so they don't want people to understand what's actually going on. So
Interesting.
yeah, I have a whole different perspective on it, but you know, I kind of want to get away from the news a little bit because I don't really
Yeah.
care about it. Honestly, like I just been on my own planet basically, and so
Yeah.
you obviously you got to pay attention to what's going on if you're investing or you're trying to make some money or do things. But I think that the more you stay away from all this negative stuff, you go out, you create your own news, right? You see what's going on, see who's working, who's spending money. You look at your investments,
But see,
you
that
read up,
affects you though. That's the thing. What they're doing, both sides,
affects you.
if you ignore it, which I agree, because it must be nice. I have friends that, well, now that just don't pay attention to politics, and you walk through life just happy and everything's fine. But what they're doing has an effect, and that
Well,
does affect you.
Well, the money. The bottom line is, I'm into the financial stuff, right? So
Yeah.
if you understand the financial stuff, everything is, the money, That's why there's basically no middle class left anymore. It's getting squeezed out, and it's going to the upper,
Yeah.
quarter of 1% for lack of
Right.
a better number, right? And so they're becoming wealthier and wealthier. And that's why when you look at everything that's going on, it's transfer of wealth, right? But then they want to throw all these hot topics in the way to kind of, get the bloodhounds off their path, right? And they want
Okay.
to, get people fighting against each other. But really it's just all it is it's an evaporation of the middle class, which held, most of the wealth in the United States, and that's pretty much evaporated, and that's why the middle class is now struggling more and more than they ever were before because all that money's going to the top. So at the top, that's all the control. So when you have all the money, you can control everyone. You can control the people in power. You can control the banks. You control everyone. And so you can control the food, right? I mean, you look at all the Gates stuff and they're trying to get rid of agriculture and all the basic stuff and make all this stuff in the factories and everything else. They're trying to control everything, and so, the gain of function with the COVID, the whole 9 yards, it's all about control. So, but when you have less money, right? When you have
Yeah.
less resources and you have to spend more time working, you don't have time. You don't have time to invest in yourself, right? Invest in your mental and physical health, spirituality. You don't have time to read books on finance and how things operate and logic and everything else. You don't have time for that because you got to get on the treadmill nowhere to make that money. So you can make sure that the government gets 30% of your income. So you can abide by the rules, and you don't have time to question, does this guy really have brain damage, or is this guy's family really compromised, or whatever's going on in politics. You don't have time for that shit. And they don't want that because the more informed you are, the more aware you are of what's really going on. And so, I talk to a lot of people about investing, right? And it's funny because I came across some people recently that got the same idea I do. What do you invest in, right? So people always think invest means money, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't. It means quality of life, right? So where do you invest? You invest in yourself, right? You read, right? You get mental clarity and awareness, right? You
Mm-hmm.
work out. Well, maybe the heavy weights don't work as you get older. So maybe you got to do more stretching. Maybe you got to do more meditation. Maybe you got to do more cardiovascular. Maybe you need to be part of nature. Get outside, get some sunlight, get some fresh air, get some water.
So you're
Bottom line
pulling
is
yourself away from all
all the
that
negative stuff,
nonsense.
right? And so the more you stay attached to the information that's out there, right? It's
Yeah.
all negative. It's all designed for our deterioration. So you want to stay. People want to stay connected to the news because they think they want to stay with the what's going on. But
Yeah.
really, what they're doing is they're just deteriorating themselves by processing all of this negativity. And you wonder why all these people are running around and they're so pissed off. People are pissed off right now.
I've never seen this country so divided in my 50 some years.
I was just talking
You know.
on Thursday to a friend of mine that's he's in the Chicago Police Department, and
That poor guy.
he talked about he's ready to retire, so he's happy. And he talked about there's a guy walking through a crosswalk, okay, and a guy
Yeah.
drove his car drove his car in front of him while he was trying to walk through the crosswalk. So the guy kicks the car, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So the guy stops the car, jumps out. He says they're jaw jacking at each other. The guy in the driver of the car says, "I'm going to kill you." So the guy's like, "Yeah, whatever." So he goes into a restaurant or a bar across the street. The guy parks his car, grabs his gun, goes into the bar or restaurant, whatever it is, puts the gun to the guy's face and says, "I'm going to kill you." The guy just bats the gun away, got shot in the leg. Well, anyways, they found out who the guy left. They found out who it was. They arrest him. Well, what happens is both of these guys were not criminals, right? The one guy, or actually both of them, he said had like minor misdemeanors or something like that, years back. They weren't criminals. They were hardworking dudes. They're just so fucking pissed off. The one guy that's kicking the car obviously instigates, right? Doesn't give the guy the reason to shoot him, but he instigates. You look for trouble, you're going to find it. Now, this guy goes in there with the gun, whether his intent was to shoot him or he pulled the trigger when the guy pushed it away, who knows? Bottom line is you can't do that. But to elevate people to want to kill each other for kicking a car,
well, there's also no accountability either. I mean, it's a free for all in most blue states, unfortunately.
Well, absolutely, but for a couple of hardworking guys, it's not the same thing. No.
So what you're saying is everybody's on the edge, just waiting.
Everyone's on the edge.
Everyone's like short these days, right?
Like, I'm so pissed. I'm just I dare you to say something so I can rip your eyes out.
I get that. Oh. I totally agree. When I'm watching this stuff, I get so angry. It's like I want to argue with someone, and then I need like an hour to decompress. So your story makes a lot of sense.
And so I used to be, very confrontational. Now I give a shit.
No, you don't seem like the type.
No, not at all. No, but I'm not anymore. I don't care. Like, what are you gonna say to me? What are you gonna do to me? I don't care. I'm gonna go enjoy my life, and you're gonna go and be more miserable. So go ahead. You know what I mean? Do whatever you want. But I find that I want to stay away from a lot of environments, a lot of people, especially the toxic people. So, for instance, I was in Wisconsin. A buddy of mine across the street, he recently had a stroke, and he was a big pool shooter, and I used to be too back in the day. And I said, there's a bar 800 feet away. Does it got a pool table over there? He's like, yeah. So I said, let's go shoot some pool. I'm not a drinker. I quit drinking. I go in there. I want to go right to the table and throw some quarters in there and start playing some pool with this guy, maybe get his mind, going again. And he walks up to the bar, and the bar, it's a hillbilly bar. The broad goes to me. She goes, "What you gonna have?" And I don't want nothing, I mean, I'm drink water with like lemons or something. I go, you got, what was the product? You got any sparkling water? What's that? Right? So I'm like, yeah. I'm thinking you're gonna, and then she starts like trying to make fun of me, right? And I'm thinking you got one tooth in your face and you're gonna make fun of me. All right, whatever, dude. So I'm gonna go by the tables, So I go by the tables and I see these people. They're all drunk and just acting like a-holes.
What time is it?
It's early in the evening because I go to bed early. It's probably 8:30 at night.
Okay.
And I'm just off in the corner. I just want to shoot some pool, right? I don't want to interact with any of these people. I don't want to get in fist fights. I don't want people to want to play me pool for money. I don't want to drink, but I'm just part of it, right? So I'm completely sober, and I see everybody stumbling around and jaw jacking each other and everything else. And I'm like, I'm enjoying playing the pool, but I cannot stand this environment. And it's funny because the more you remove yourself from a toxic environment, the more you despise being in those environments. You don't
Mm-hmm.
want any part of it. So, I'm not trying to talk shit about people who want to go to a bar. You want to go to a bar, it's fine. I'm just saying that once you start improving, you don't want to go backwards. You can't take 2 steps forward and 3 steps back. And so you're really cognizant of your environment.
You know what's funny is I just had a conversation the other day with a close friend of mine, and she made a comment that she was with a group of people after they were out, and she said to me, she goes, I never realized how like difficult or strange it is to be around people that have been drinking and a little intoxicated when she hasn't been drinking at all. She said it's just, they're like, no, stay. And she's like, no, I want to go. And it's funny because I was thinking, nobody wants to go to I go to the bar quite a bit, but there's a lot of times I have pop. I'll drink soda because I just don't feel like, drinking. And I could tell I'm not as sociable as I would be if I had a few beers.
Well, not to interrupt you, but I think the reason why I don't want to interact with other people is because the wick is only that long.
Yeah.
And if I see something that they don't agree with and all of a sudden there's a problem, I don't have any problems in my life. I don't want any problems. Years ago, yeah, let's go. I'll knock your teeth out.
They're the ones that'll want to, because they've been drinking, they're the ones that are going to want to get
or
physical.
You shoot a good game of pool against your buddy and they see that you can shoot some pool. You won't play for $100? No, get away from me. I don't want to play you for nothing. And so, last thing I need to do is have one of these idiots, spark up or do some bullshit and get me involved in this. I don't want any involvement in that. I'm just there to shoot a couple games of pool against my buddy, and then we're going to leave and go home. And that's it. So, people are so volatile that I only have interactions with people that I know, that are good people, that are nice people, it's going to be a really good interaction. Those are the only people I really have around me. I will not be around just strange people. That's why I don't go to baseball and football games. I don't want to be around 50,000 people that I don't know, and everyone's uptight and their underwear's too tight. I don't want to deal with that shit.
I don't blame you. And anybody at a bar that wants to square off with you, a lot of the listeners might not know this. Don here is a big dude. He is a big dude. He's just, when I first met you, I couldn't believe how tall you were and everything. So if anybody's drinking enough that they want to mess with you, I would like to watch. I would like to watch.
I don't need to go to jail.
No, you don't. But you know what? Circling back, you're right. Everybody is on edge right now because we're so divided. You got one of the parties saying this, the other party saying that. Whether you want to side with either one, the bottom line is, like you said, everybody is fighting. Everybody is angry. Everybody knows politics now. Everybody's like a professor in political science. They know what's right and wrong. And it's getting really old. And I think that's why I've pulled back quite a bit, because when I first came on the show with you and Marcus, I was heavily into the politics and following it. But the last 6-7 months, it's the same thing. The left does this, the right does this. And I always like to say, well, I'm an independent and I see both sides. But when I posted something on Facebook against the far left, I got attacked by my friends who were Democrats. And after a couple of those ICE shootings where the agents shot people at these riots in Minnesota, I looked at it as someone who was in the field of law enforcement for over 25 years and a supervisor. I was very critical of the ICE agents in both shootings. And I put that on Facebook. And Don, wouldn't you know, I got attacked from my right friends.
That's what I'm saying. Too far right, too far left. Somebody thinks because they watch the news, they know something. You know less than before you watch the news. That's what you know.
Right. And I was just trying to be fair and just look at it as, retired law enforcement and saying, and, I'll say this again. I don't think the ICE officers did what they were supposed to do. I think they were in the wrong. And, you could say, well, those people shouldn't have been there. You're right. They shouldn't have been there, but they were there. But I got attacked by people that, are MAGA on the right. And I was like,
your
wow.
peeps. You thought they were your peeps and they're against you. So
Well,
damned if you do, damned if you don't.
you
You
know
can't
what
have
would have
your
been
own
funny?
idea.
Right. If somebody would have asked me, if you put this on Facebook, do you think you'll get grief from your friends who are far right? I probably would have said, no, I don't think so. I think they're level-headed enough to think and step back and maybe consider what I'm saying. And I actually had a very good friend of mine who is a liberal. I don't want to say he's far left, a liberal. And he texted me right away and said, what is wrong with these people? Nobody respects that you were in law enforcement for 25 years and a supervisor. Why are they coming down on you? And I said, well, it just goes to show you. Doesn't matter what side you're on. You're going to get attacked no matter what. So what did I learn? I'm not even going to put it on Facebook anymore.
I completely agree with you. So my original opinion was, you know what? Anybody that is woke and liberal, that they have no common sense, that they're stupid, blah 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 blah, all this shit, right? And all the right people, they got logic and they understand and this and that. Well, it's not it's really not like that. They're the product of, and I've said this before in a different show. We are people in general. They watch the news and they're a product of their news station. Okay, and so if you say something, let's say you always watch Fox, right? And I don't agree with a lot of stuff that Fox says anymore either, and I used to.
Yeah.
If you are in disagreement with that, then everyone that's right is going to be all over you. If you disagree with what CNN says, they're going to be all over you. So if you have your own opinion, right, and you just use logic, right? Yeah. Logic is your perspective. Reality is what you make real, okay? And if you make something real based on a logical viewpoint, right? Like you're law enforcement, or I've dealt with this, or I know these people, or I know this situation, and it's not gonna. When you back up, you look at it's not going to match with what any news station says, right? And so what do you get out of that? You get out of it, number one, it's all nonsense. Why are we even watching this shit? Number two, why are we fighting each other over the news, right? And number three, if you don't agree with somebody, that they don't like you. Now, I always blamed people that didn't agree with me, that I didn't like them. I don't want nothing to do with them because I have no logic. Well, the further I'm getting away from the news, the more I'm realizing that very few people are going to align with what my reality is, and because my reality has nothing to do with TV, because I don't watch TV. I watch TV since 2020, and my viewpoint has completely changed on a lot of things, and I don't buy any of this stuff, and so now I'm realizing that there's left people, I think, that they've been a little bit more manipulated mentally, but now I'm realizing that a lot on the right are as well. So, and people that are dear to me, people that I love, people that I respect, people that I think are smart, but they are the product of the information and the environment that they belong to. And if they belong to a news oriented environment, that's what they're going to be the product of. And so I want to be part of nature. I want to be, a child of God. I want to be the creator of my own reality. I want to be that guy. I don't want to be a product of the news station, so I it's really funny. So get out there, be happy, and improve yourself, disconnect with people if they're angry, connect with people if they're happy. Keep it fucking simple, man.
So surround yourself with happy people and you'll be happy.
Exactly.
That makes sense, because if you're around people that are angry all the time, you're going to tend to be angry too, which I think is like when I watch some of these shows, they get all worked up and then I end up getting all worked up.
Right.
Even though I agree with, I guess, the root of what they're saying, I guess the way their actions and what they're saying, they get all worked up and then I do too. So, I mean, definitely I've pulled back a lot. And I think it reflects in our shows too, because we used to be heavy politics. And when me and you had a talk, we were like, I think we're going to pull back a little bit. And even my one friend who says he watches every show, and I told him, I says, we kind of pulled back from the politics because it's just too polarizing.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody wants to argue with you. I do get hate mail, people disagreeing with what I said, and and I'm getting it from both sides, just like I am on a social media account. But I just try to take it in stride and let it go. But at least you have a place to connect with nature, being up north.
Yeah, I
Right?
do, and I have my own little world that I live in, and it's a good world, and
Yeah.
and I love life, and I love the people that participate in it, and but I think as far as the show, the direction that I really want to go
Yeah.
is the direction of improvement and positivity, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I just want to be I want to get people to want to listen to us because it maybe helps them think more clearer, or it helps them be a little bit more happy, or focus on good things. I really want to be that guy. I know that doesn't sell. I know the reason why news is all about dreadful shit and
We're
horrible
not
crap
selling anything,
is
though.
because no, it's
know?
because that's what sells, right? People
Right.
want to
Oh,
see people get killed and
right.
murdered and
And
robbed and
look
burnt
away.
down. And
Remember what I told you when we first met? I says, not that you did, but I always tell people that I become friends with, don't send me any of these car accidents, these shootings. I don't want to see them. I don't want to. So that's basically what you're just saying right now. I want to get away from the negative.
yeah, and I have a lot of friends that were police officers, and I always said I could never do that because you're just too involved
Yeah.
in not only negative, environment, but
Very negative.
people. Nobody's telling the truth. Nobody's telling the truth. Nobody's ethical. There's no good things happening. Everyone's lying. Even good people are lying, and it's like I don't want to be. I never wanted to be part of that, and it's just whether or not could I be numb through it? And yeah, whatever, dude, and just jump in the cell and shut up. Yeah, could I do that? Yeah. Is that what I want to do? No, I want to be around people that are thankful and gracious and nice, and they want to talk about positive things and focus on positive things, and focus on family and the people that they love. And it's nice to be around people that actually care about things rather than people that only care about themselves,
Isn't it something? I mean, I know someone, not going to say any names, that their own parents will not even talk with them because one side's on the left, the other side's on the right. I mean, and I just find that unbelievable. I told my one friend, I says, listen, I don't want to talk politics with you because I want to keep our friendship where it's been since high school.
Mm-hmm.
We had a great friendship, have a lot of fun together. We laughed texting each other because I told him, I said, if we start texting politics and your side, my side, I'm not going to want to talk about this. And it is, you're right. You hit it right on the head, is that these people are just so divided and nobody wants to be around that. I mean, I have friends now that I see that talk politics, and it's like, wait, I've known you 7 years. You never talked politics with me up until this last election. So can we get back to not talking about politics and talking about hanging out and doing things and going on pub crawls and
things
stuff
that
like
helped you, or things that
Yeah.
that open your
Fun.
eyes. I
And
mean,
one girl that I know who, we kind of just bumped heads with politics, and we talked one night, and we get along great now, and we've both decided to go back to where we were, and it's great. I love spending time with her. I love seeing her. We text each other all the time to meet out at the bar if we're going out, and we don't talk politics, and it is so much nicer. So what you're saying today, 1,000% I agree with you.
that's great. Yeah, I mean, like, life is short enough, right?
Yeah.
Like, why not make it a really good journey? Why?
Yeah.
Why do we have to focus on negative stuff? And even if you don't think you're focusing on negative stuff, you are. If you're talking about anything that's on the news, you're focused on negative stuff, and so go out and do things you like to do. Right? Be happy.
Yeah.
Be around people you want to be around. Like, improve yourself, improve your mind. I mean, improve your environment, improve your. I don't care what it is. Go out and enjoy and be thankful for everything that you have in life. Focus on all the things that you like and you want in life, and focus on what it is that you have and the people that you have around you. And if you can't focus on them and you can't be grateful for it, then they shouldn't be part of your life, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, I lost maybe one or two friends because of all this political stuff, but
Sure.
I think my life is better because I didn't want to be around their negativity all the time.
Exactly.
So,
Exactly.
and maybe they didn't want to be around mine, but that was my decision and I'm okay with it. And you're right. So if I come up to see you in your resort, we're not going to talk politics.
Hell no. I don't care about
Well,
that.
anyways, we don't text each other politics. We
I don't care
text
about
fun
that
stuff.
Yeah.
We're not going to get into what we really text, but it's fun stuff for two guys to be texting.
You know what's kind of hilarious, Sal? I was thinking about this the other day. Is you're a hockey player and you're a policeman. Some of my very, very good friends were policemen. A lot of them were sergeants, tough guys, and great hockey players. And it's kind of funny because I like there's got to be 5 or 6 guys that I'm really good friends with that were policemen, tough guys, and hockey players, but yet super nice people. And so it's kind of hard to find that combination. It's hard to find a guy that's really freaking tough and a guy, and a policeman, and he's really a nice guy.
Well,
like
I think
a genuinely good guy.
And I think the police job, at least for me, kind of conditioned me to be fair and nice because I was always very nice to people. If I had to be an ass, I would be. But
you turn on the ass button.
Yeah, but I've met some of your friends and hockey players, retired police, and very nice guys, and that's good. That's how it should be.
Yeah,
That's
but
how it should be.
It's kind of funny not to change subject here, but I was talking about with some of the guys I know, and I said, the toughest guys I know are the nicest guys I know.
Yeah.
The guys that will not act tough. Those are the toughest guys there are. And I always say, if you're trying to act tough, you're trying to show tough, it's because you're not tough.
Right. You got to try to get the fear factor into it,
Yeah, exactly.
No, I agree with you. I agree.
That's why I'm not big into the facades. I just, here I am. You like me, you don't like me, I don't care. You think I'm tough, think I'm a pussy. I don't really care. The bottom line is I'm not a big facade guy.
Yeah, always, and that's how I was going on calls. I would always say, they asked me once when I interviewed, when I did lateral movement, they said, have you ever been in a fight? I'm like, yeah. I says, but if I could put the fist away and use my mouth, I will do that every chance I get. And I think the board of trustees and everything like that answer, but it's the truth. I'd rather talk, see if I can get on the level and talk with somebody than have to go to blows, because even now at my age, I don't want to go to blows with anybody. Are you kidding? I sneeze and I'm in pain. Let alone
at the end of the day, that doesn't solve anything anyways. I mean,
right, exactly.
I think fighting is the extreme, right? Then the next one is talking, right? Verbalization or communication, right? Then I think the one where we really should be is the thought process. You can think your way through and out of it or past it. And so I think the less involved you get with the actual physicality of it, the better it resolves, right? Sure, can you resolve something with a fist fight? Yeah, you can. If it can't be resolved any other way, let's rock and roll. But if it can be resolved with words, but a lot of people that do the words, the tough words, they don't want to go to the next level, right? Yeah. Now, if you get a guy that can avoid a problem just with changing his thought, right?
Yeah.
That's the key right there, right? It's all in thought, right?
That's the hard part. That's
people don't want to use their brains. They use their lips, but they don't want to use their brains. Same way, they want to use their lips, but they don't want to use their fists, right? So, like it's kind of like when I first started out in business. I shouldn't say when I first started out because they didn't have the computers back then, but the tough guys were the guys on the email. They're all tough with the typewriters, right?
Keyboard tough guys, right?
Yeah. Then it was the phone. Then they were tough over the phone, right?
Yeah.
Then it was the visit, right? And you found that there wasn't too many guys who were very tough when the visit happened. You know what I mean?
That's when you usually say, you got to be a little bit more impressive to back it if you're going to talk like that.
Exactly.
You know,
It's kind of funny, you know. I mean, but times have changed. You can't do those measures any
well,
longer.
with social media, everybody's a tough guy and anonymous. But we went a little bit over
Yep.
today, but
Yeah.
I'm okay with it because we had to catch up. And I like the direction of the show, so everybody knows we're going to gear toward more betterment and stuff like that, and try to have
Positivity.
fun,
Yeah.
positivity.
We want people
Okay.
to laugh. We want people to smile. We want people to be happy, and we want people to love life.
And what we want is for them to hit the subscribe button and hit the like button and hit the bell so you know when another show drops. And what we also want is you to check out our podcast on all the platforms, Apple, Spotify, all that. I just want to run through that and visit our website, donhanston.com. donhanstonshow.com, or you could email us too at our email address, which is straight up donhanson@gmail.com. So that was a great segue. Thanks for that, Don. I had to get that in and out. You know, the bosses will get mad.
Oh, yeah. Pissed off.
So hopefully we'll be back soon. I want to thank everybody for joining us. Stay positive, and we'll talk again soon. We'll see you soon.
Everyone have a great day.